welcoming all of you guys to Genesis Works Breaking Through ceremony. Make yourselves comfortable because this is going to be a long program, but we've got lots of great work to recognize. And I assure you, there will be food. Now that we have that out of the way, I know many of you may still be wondering, where did all these amazing, well-dressed young professionals come from? The answer is Genesis Works. Genesis Works is a nonprofit organization with three main goals. First, to train students in technical and professional skills and place them into internships with Fortune 500 companies. Second, to help prepare them for college readiness and career success. And third, to empower them to break through whatever barriers that stand in the way of their dreams. Genesis' motto has always been breakthrough, and indeed, the experience has been amazing, life-changing, and so unique. But today, we are here to commemorate the students. More than anything else, this is a celebration for all of you guys who have worked so hard for 3 months and continue doing so every single day. We may be interning at different places now, and we don't see each other as much as we want to, but we will always be connected through one experience, breaking through. The program will be a mixture of speeches given by just a handful of my awe-inspiring peers, but there will also be awards given to some very important people who have helped make Genesis Works possible. And after this, if someone asks you, what's Genesis Works? You'll know exactly what to say. There's just one last thing I'd like to add, and it's a huge thank you to all the families, coworkers, friends, and especially the supervisors for just coming out here and supporting us. Please keep watching over Class 5 this year and support us in everything that we do. And now let's welcome John Halegas and Melanie Vang onto the stage.
Hello, my name is Melanie Vang.
And I'm John Hillegas.
We are here to quickly recognize this year's primary financial supporters, the 12 caring organizations listed on the screen above. Because of their generous support, we have been able to enjoy this wonderful program that is now part of our lives forever. Thank you so much. Let's give this year's financial supporters a big round of applause.
We want to especially give a big thanks to AT&T for being this year's sponsors for this year's breakthrough ceremony. To use a line from AT&T's logo, we want to thank them for helping us to rethink what's possible and to realize what we can accomplish in our lives. At this moment, I would like to welcome to the stage the president of AT&T Minnesota, Mr. Bob Bass.
Thanks so much, John. AT&T, we're really proud to be a part and to allow us to be a part of today's Genesis Works Breaking Through ceremony. And first of all, would like to congratulate all of the students on a remarkable accomplishment. So I know you're going to get to clap your hands a lot today, but let's clap them one more time. I know you have a long program, and I had some longer remarks, so I'm going to cut them down considerably so that this will move a little quicker. But the biggest reason we're here today is to announce, as part of our key philanthropic focus at AT&T, which is education, that today we're going to announce a $50,000 grant to Genesis Works here in the Twin Cities. And tomorrow we're going to announce nationally a much larger grant, which I've been told they'll rip my fingernails out if I announce that ahead of them, but it's significantly higher than the $50,000 today. And it's all part of, our commitment to education. And people ask us, why is AT&T so concerned about education? And I think just like all of the other businesses and corporations that are here today, we need a skilled workforce. We need a highly educated workforce. And I think really sitting here today, I see a lot of that future out there for us. And from AT&T's perspective, it aligns perfectly with what Genesis Works is doing, which is providing high school students with the opportunity and the skills to work, but most importantly, to succeed in the corporate environment. What I'd like to do now is show you a short video that talks about the relationship between Genesis Works and AT&T.
I always knew that in the future I wanted to be successful, but I just didn't know how to get there.
I didn't really have any aspirations or goals.
The things I've seen or things that I experienced, such as violence, drugs, passing up opportunities or open doors for me to get somewhere in life, I don't think people should, or kids should be experienced to that.
I would be, I don't know, just working at a fast food restaurant. That's really much all that I thought that I could do and I was capable of doing.
Genesis Works is a social enterprise that changes the trajectory of life of low-income high school students, providing them the technical knowledge and the experience to go into the major corporation and discover for themselves that they can succeed as a professional in the corporate world. They get placed into a meaningful internship with our clients during their entire senior year in high school.
With Genesis, it helped me straighten the path of where I wanted to go. It took the fork out the road and made it straight. I learned so much about professionalism, building resumes, interviewing skills, how to communicate well.
They help you with being a better person and showing you that you have the potential to be someone greater than you thought you can be.
AT&T has made an extremely bold statement. Programs like Genesis Works that allow students to discover that there is another track in life and allows them to make that switch.
I've been able to eat and sit next to CIOs, CEOs of large corporations.
Now I'm planning to go to San Francisco State. I want to go into the FBI. Now I have new hope in just knowing that I can do those things.
If I had not joined Genesis Works, I don't really know where I would be.
It has had such a great impact in me, not only me, but my brother and sister, that they now see that they have a new role model and that they actually want to be somewhere because of me. Genesis Works, they changed my life. I'm a perfect example of what it can do for your life.
As you can see, we're very, very proud of the relationship with Genesis Works, and we're thrilled that you've allowed us to be a part of this great, great event. But I also want to applaud all the other corporations and companies and the parents and the friends and those who have supported the students through this whole process and support Genesis Works. And in closing, really again want to congratulate the students again for taking such a great step and having such a remarkable achievement. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bass, for that wonderful speech.
We would now like to welcome to the stage two wonderful Genesis Works young professional, Amy Lore and Ayu Farah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Lore, and I attend Patrick Henry High School. I am now a Genesis Works young professional and an intern at United Health Group. As an intern, I build and re-image laptops and desktops in the IT department.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ayu Farah, and I go to Edina High School. I am also a Class 5 intern. I work at Carlson, where I mainly work with the desk side support team. There, I help them image computers, help them troubleshoot tickets, and install those computers.
The opportunities provided to Ayu and me at United Health Group and Carson companies have been amazing. We're grateful for the support we get each day from our managers and co-workers. However, these are just two of the 41 companies that have provided amazing opportunities for Genesis Works Young Professional. The full listings of our corporate partners can be found in your programs.
We would like to give a special mention to 7 of our new clients that have joined our partnership this year. These partners are Alliant Tech System, Merrill Corporation, Patterson, St. Jude Medical, Syncada, Wells Fargo, and the University of Minnesota Carlson School of Management. Please join me in thanking all our corporate partners.
Next up will be the first of 4 student speakers who will be sharing their breakthrough stories.
Please give a round of applause to Aliyah, the walking smile, Minraj.
Hi, guys. My name is Aaliyah Manraj, and I'm a senior at Park Center High School. And it's a privilege for me to stand before you today and share a bit of my personal breaking through story. One marked by a painful past, an amazing present, and a very bright future. My friends and Genesis Works classmates know me for the smile that's constantly on my face. Yeah, it's a smile that shows the happiness I feel, but it's also helped to mask much of the pain I've felt growing up. If there's one thing I remember seeing as a child, it had to be a red and white can that looked a lot like soda to me. I always wondered what it was, but I never knew. All I knew is that we weren't allowed to taste it, it made Mom sad, and Dad used to get really angry when he drank these. Every day, I'd see Dad drink so many of them, and I was always wondering why he acted so funny. At times, he'd stumble and fall, and other times, he wouldn't even get up. We'd often hear or feel thumps and slaps. I remember cops too, and a lot of them. Very often, Dad would have to go into the back of the cop cars with these silver things that looked a lot like bracelets to me. As I grew older, things seemed to get worse. Dad didn't change much, but I did. I was angry at the world. I was filled with hate to the bones. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I hated the truth, and I hated my dad for putting us through this. In the past, I would always make excuses for my dad's being abusive. You know, maybe if I wasn't so loud, he wouldn't have gotten so mad, or maybe if I did my homework on time, he wouldn't have hit me. But with time, I knew it was never me. It was just Dad's way of dealing with his resentments. Throughout dealing with my dad's addiction, I developed some pretty bad habits of my own, whether it's skipping class, not doing my homework, not studying for tests, getting involved with the wrong friends, or just walking out of class. I did it all. It didn't take much for me to fall behind on my credits, and soon enough, I was placed into an advisory that would help me get back on track to graduate on time. My advisor, Heather Millersink, used to tell me continuously, I can be your best friend, or I can be your worst enemy. And at first, I thought, okay, she's just trying to scare me into doing my work. But with time, I knew that she was here for us. And if we weren't willing to follow the rules she laid out, she wasn't gonna hesitate to get us in line. As time passed, Miss Millersink and I became very close. We talked about school, work, and my home life a lot. It was really, really nice to have somebody that was actually there to listen for once and not judge me. As I began to get back on track to graduate, Miss Millersink was actually the one that introduced me to Genesis Works. Miss Millersink, I can't thank you enough for helping me so much, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been standing here today speaking to all of these wonderful people. Genesis Works has played a huge role in my life. It has taught me so many different skills and so many different ways to be the ideal young professional that businesses are looking for. Because of Genesis, I've turned my life around. I went from being this small girl that's so mad at the world to this girl who gets a 5 out of 5 for attitude because she's so pleasant to be around. Thank you. I owe a big thank you to Crystal Stackhouse, my coordinator. Crystal is the main reason I broke through, and I'm so thankful for everything she has taught me. And now, in my new internship at Target Corporation, I'm surrounded by an amazing team. They're so fun and loving and respectful, and they just show me what it's like to be a young professional in the corporate world. Life is amazing, and I feel so blessed to have all these opportunities. And while I look ahead to finishing high school, I really have my mind set on a double major for criminal psychology and social work. Thanks. I look at this bright future, and I know I haven't arrived here alone. If there are a few people I would definitely be lost without, it'd have to be my mom, her best friend Carol DeSavi, my siblings Aleem, Annie, and Arifa, and Kemraj. I love you guys. They've been here for me to guide me through thick and thin. You know, they've just been here through everything, pushing me in all the right directions. But believe it or not, the person most responsible for me being who I am today is my dad. Dad, if it wasn't for your lack of smiling and affection, I wouldn't have grown to be this positive, fun, and loving girl that everyone wants to be around. If it wasn't for your lack of understanding, I wouldn't have grown to be as insightful as I am today. Dad, if you never made me feel so broken inside and out, I never would have had the urge to stand so strong and proud today. For a lot of my life, my dad has showed me all the right things in all the wrong ways. But I can't end my story there. My dad is working to be whole again. Dad, you're amazing. You're working so hard to finally forgive and forget. You're becoming more peaceful, wise, loving, and caring with every new day that you wake up to. The fact that you're actually working on your resentments shows that you want more out of life. So thank you for trying, and thank you for showing us that no matter who you are or where you come from or what you've been through, it's never too late to start a new beginning, and it's never too late to change for the better. And a special thank you to all of you here today for not only allowing me to share my personal breaking through story, but for all that you have done to support me and my fellow Genesis Works classmates. Thank you so much. We're most grateful. And now, I'd like you all to welcome my amazing new friend, Hanan Farah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hanan Farah, and I'm a Class 5 Genesis Works Young Professional who interns at Carlson Companies in Minnetonka. Tonight, I'll be sharing with you my Breaking Through ceremony speech. You see, you think I'm oppressed. Just because I'm not similarly dressed, you look at me and I stand out from the rest. Does it not impress you that I'm amongst your best, yet you still try to stop me from success? But not to worry, it's not a personal matter, because I'll gladly let you know when It's not a personal matter. I'll gladly let you know when your opinions come up the ladder. Curiosity, animosity, whether I'm depressed, distressed, or repressed, your categories are like versions of solitary confinement. Allow me to address that the way that I dress is not a sign of oppression. So why? Why are you stressing me on this form of expression? On September 11th, 2001, the world was changed forever, and that date would mark a milestone in history. However, how was I supposed to have known, sitting in my first grade class, that life as I knew it would change? I didn't. That September morning, there was a silence that evoked so much more than I could have realized in my 6-year-old mind frame, that it took many years for me to realize what that silence meant. That silence was the breaking of a bond, kind of like a rubber band being stretched out and being snapped. It was a formulator of hatred, categorizations, and most of all, it was a builder of barriers. Who knew silence could speak so loud? As years go by, I faced many trials in my life. I faced those tiresome interrogations at airports, being called numerous obscenities even though I was yay high. And I witnessed many people get horribly mistreated simply because they were different. Simply because she decided to wear a scarf on her head, simply because he decided to grow his beard a little longer, simply because they were different. However, I soon began to realize that I could determine my own success. I could either let the obstacles make me or let the obstacles break me. I chose to let the obstacles make me. I decided to embark on a journey to success. As the Chinese proverb states, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. By making the intentions to prosper in life, I immersed myself deeply in my studies and began trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do in life and how it would change not only the common misconception, but the world itself. I know that idea might sound a bit too far-fetched, but hear me out. If I can impact a single person in a positive way, I'd feel a bit more accomplished. Furthermore, while on my journey to success, I was introduced to Genesis Works and how it was a life-changing program. After the advice of a dear friend, I chose to apply and gave it a shot. To say Genesis Works is a life-changing program is a bit of an understatement. Genesis Works in every essence that it stands for definitely works. This program has left its marks on me, and now I'm more adequate in a sense of professionalism, and I also now acquire IT skills that I thought I would never have known. And now, I'd like you, the audience, to please give a round of applause to the well-deserving staff of Genesis Works. And now, I'd like to give my sincere appreciation to Chris Enthusiasm Snotty and Joan Jiving Bernard. These two people have came into my life and left more than just their marks. I admire their genuine care and love for each and every student that they've encountered. 8 weeks was simply not enough time to spend with such radiating souls. In conclusion, I've learned that in the whirlwind of life, we each face trials and tribulations, but what makes us different is how we choose to overcome each obstacle. I will implement the skills that I've learned from Genesis Works into my life and will still continue to thrive on my journey to success. Genesis Works has taught me valuable life lessons, and for that I'm infinitely thankful. From the silence that spoke so loud that September morning, I know not to judge a book by its cover or a person by their belief. The world is full of hatred. I get it. But so many people miss out on an opportunity of knowing an amazing person because of rash judgments. As a Muslim, I believe a person who plants a tree or sows a field from which man and animals can eat is committing an act of charity. And my act of charity is to love and respect my fellow human beings for who they are and not to antagonize them for their religious beliefs. I want to now say thank you to my beautiful parents and my siblings for their unconditional support, their never-ending love, and basically for being my backbone of hope. Hoya and Abu, I am forever in your debt for bringing me this far in life and for doing all that you have done for me. I can't stress how much I love you. So, allow me to address that the way that I dress is not a sign of oppression. So please stop stressing me on this form of expression. Thank you. Now, I'd like to introduce my dashing fellow young professional, Najee Kennedy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Najee Kennedy, and I am an unsung hero. Over the years, I have liberated my mind with a plan to open the door to one of my greatest dreams, graduating from college. I come from a family where education was a missing piece in the household. My mother did not graduate from college. She had to drop out after her first year due to her pregnancy with my older brother. My older brother and I grew up in the city of Chicago where drugs, gangs, and violence infested our neighborhood. My mother worked long, aching hours as a nursing assistant trying to make ends meet. My father abandoned my mother and I when I was young, and my brother has been in and out of jail since he was 14 years old. Having to learn to be responsible and independent at a very young age played a very important role in my strive towards success. Over the last couple years, my family has been struggling with my brother's second felony conviction. My mother has been torn in emotion by the fact of my brother's conviction, and it has also taken its toll on me. Throughout my whole entire life, all I ever known was my mother and brother. To know that he may be taken away from me for the rest of my life pains me so much. School has been a way for me to School has been a way for me to keep my mind going strong, taking challenges and overcoming them in class. It allows me to get a sense that my brother can overcome his challenges as well. Being that my brother and I are my mother's only sons, I feel it's my duty to pay my dues to her. My heart is so attached to my mother that I could feel every heartbeat of hers. My mother is starting to become immersed with a lack of hope. Just last December, on the night of her birthday, as she was leaving home for work, as she walked out the door, she looked at me and said, "Najee, I've been living for 50 years and I have nothing to say what I live for." To hear that from my mother, who was such a strong figure to me, just really set my mind toward a stronger goal, that being a college degree. College for me is more than just the next step in life. It's like a grasp of achievement for me and my family. In the fall of 2013, I plan on attending a 4-year university, and the time I spend in college will be considered a dedication to my mother and brother. Every night I'm up late working hard on an essay or studying for my next exam, I will be thinking about them both and all we have overcome. I can't take back the hard times we have been through. I can't take back the fact my mother did not graduate from college and all she has is a high school diploma. The fact that she hasn't enjoyed the hard work and money she makes, it just all goes to bills and other home expenses. I can't take back the fact that my mother has cried tears some nights because of the continuing pain from her hard, heavy work hours. I can't take back the fact my brother dropped out of high school when he was 16 years old. The fact that he threw away his chances of playing college football and turned to the streets. The fact that he learned how to sell and make money off of drugs because our family income was barely enough to put a decent meal on the dinner table. The fact that my brother's second home is prison and he has been caught in the system since he was 14 years old. But I can take those facts and place them in my mind, understand who I am and why I've made it this far. The nights I spend alone allows me to think about the pain and struggle keeping me motivated. To me, there's no limit on my capabilities. With every given day, there's a new challenge waiting for me to overcome. This past summer, I've devoted myself to taking on a new challenge. I joined Genesis Works. Genesis Works is a summer training for juniors in high school to develop IT and professional skills over 8 weeks of summer, and gives students the opportunity to be placed at a major corporation as an intern. Genesis Works has truly allowed me to break through a key barrier, the barrier of being a young adult whose family struggles economically. I now feel very confident about my new life as a young professional. I feel that I have the right skill sets and vision to become successful. Genesis Works has allowed me to get ahead, reach higher, and discover new possibilities. I want to thank all the Genesis Works staff members, my fellow classmates, and my managers and new co-workers at Health Partners. The last few months have truly been the most memorable of my life. In closing, I want to say a special thanks to you, Mom. Words cannot express how thankful I am for your love, inspiration, and support. You have been my hero, and now it's my turn to become yours. Thank you, thank you. And now, I would like to welcome to the stage Natasha Moore, who will be giving us our final breakthrough speech.
Hello, everybody. My name is Natasha Moore, and I'm a senior at Johnson High School. I grew up on the east side of St. Paul with a mother, father, little brother, and big sister. For most of my elementary days, my mom would stay at home while my dad worked. From a very early age, my mom taught us to always have confidence, push ourselves to be the best person we could be, and to, above all, love ourselves more than we can ever love anyone else. She taught me the most important lesson that I could ever learn, a lesson that until I got involved in Genesis Works, I had almost forgotten. One would say that I had a pretty good childhood. My parents were far from rich, but yet I never felt the struggle. They did an amazing job sheltering us from the world so that when I finally got out of our protective bubble, I was not ready for what I experienced. In the 3rd grade, my parents packed the 5 of us up and moved us out of our cozy but cramped 2-bedroom apartment into a townhouse a few miles away on a street called Glenridge. Glenridge was a winding road with the hastily thrown together side-by-sides littering the outline of it. The street was always bustling with an overabundance of kids and teenagers. It didn't take long before the excitement of our new house to die down and the real Glenridge began to unfold in front of our eyes. We soon discovered that our new block was nothing but a cesspool of all the African-American criminals, potential criminals, drug dealers, drug addicts, pedophiles, and neglected children in the seemingly innocent Battle Creek neighborhood. We were crammed on top of each other like roaches, and it wasn't hard to understand how easy it was for society to neglect us because we acted like animals. Every day, parents would fist fight in the yards, drunks would argue on porches, and the crack dealers would speed up and down the street in their big fancy cars and stop in front of me to ask where my father was. My father had become the neighborhood crackhead, and I, the crackhead's daughter. Because I was the daughter of a drug addict, I had a lot of responsibility. I had to learn how to lie to monstrous black men with burning red eyes and bulging, veiny muscles. I had to learn how to argue, fight, and defend myself against the boys who snickered and pointed. I also had to learn how to hold my head up high and be proud of my father, because astonishingly, I was the only child on the block who even had one. The time my family spent on Glenridge was almost the lowest years of my life. It wasn't only because of my father that my tremendously stressed mother no longer had the mental capacity to love us the way she used to, let alone smile once in a while. It was because of the new perception that I had of my people, African American people. I began to see the difference between blacks and whites in the terms of the way they acted and were treated. I noticed that the houses on my block were falling apart and infested with mice and roaches, while the exact same townhouses owned by the same management on the block over were beautiful and filled with Caucasians. The police hated us, the landlords hated us, and we hated each other. Glenridge is where I learned to despise myself because of the color of my skin. I learned that I would not make it anywhere in life because black people like me just were not successful. An older white woman, the only one who lived on Glenridge, once called me a ghetto bitch for absent-mindedly throwing my popsicle stick on the sidewalk in front of her house. For years after hateful words to an 11-year-old child, I could only see myself as a ghetto bitch, nothing more, nothing less. Over time, I finally got my stuff together. My family moved into a house, my father beat his addiction, and my mother had reverted back into the beautiful, loving woman that I had known from my early childhood. For a while, life was good. Not only was I becoming a star in track and getting good grades in school, but we also had a gorgeous puppy named Digger who slept with me every night. I started to feel proud of myself and my abilities. I began to see the sky opening up for me, and I was just beginning to reach for the stars when once again my world was torn apart. In the second half of 10th grade, my mother and father split up. My mom kicked my dad out, and shortly after, my sister got put out as well. My mother's sanity was slowly slipping away, and me and my little brother was forced to defend ourselves against her wrath all alone. After months of not hearing from our homeless sister and only seeing our homeless dad with a police escort, we got a knock at the door. My father was there, alone. His eyes were red, hands shaky, and his voice cracked. My stomach began to bubble up to my throat and sat there, cutting off my air supply. My father took a trembling breath and managed to smile. He always smiled through anything. He told me that he had got in touch with my older sister and found out that she was pregnant by her boyfriend of a few years. By then I was swallowing, trying to keep the knot down with all my might because I was anticipating the next thing he had to tell us, the reason he had come. He diverted his eyes away from me as they filled with tears. My strong, loving, protective daddy shook like a child as he revealed to me and my baby brother that he was moving to Chicago for a few months so he can get help from his family. As I squeezed him tight for the last time, I knew in my heart that I would never see the man who had grown to be my best friend and my security ever again. It had been a little over a year since I said goodbye to my father. In the months following him moving, my mother, brother, and I lost our house and were forced to move back into a 2-bedroom apartment, back in our old neighborhood where we started out. We also had to give away my puppy, Digger. For me, the physical absence of my dad mixed with the mental absence and resulting cruelty of my mother was too much to handle. I fell victim once again to the intense hatred for myself that I had once as a child. I figured that if my dad could leave me so easily and if my mom treated me so bad, then the white lady from years ago must have been right about who I was. The once outgoing and friendly me had inverted it into a shell of nothingness. I was empty. I walked with my head down. I went from tons of friends to absolutely zero. I had no confidence in the person that I was. I felt rejected by the only people in the world who were supposed to dedicate their lives to loving me. So I figured that the world would reject me too. When I surprisingly got accepted into Genesis Works, I had no idea what I had gotten into. On the first day, I walked into class and seen a room full of people who were better than me, smarter, fancier, more likable. I was so intimidated that every day I would wake up a little nauseous, not knowing if I would make a fool out of myself or not. Around the 4th week or so, I contemplated quitting the program. I completely thought I would not do as good as the other students. However, it didn't take long for my whole attitude to change. After 8 long weeks with Lawrence Classroom 1, I learned a lot about myself and the other students. I learned that they are some of the nicest, most down-to-earth people I know. Not only are they smart and supportive, they came from backgrounds with similar struggles as mine. I looked at every person in my class, and to know that they feel the same way has given me a feeling of personal value and empowerment that I have never felt before. Hearing my classmates and teachers call me things like confident, intelligent, and funny made me feel like they know the real me, the person that I lost when my daddy left. Genesis Works has helped me recover the person that I thought I would never see again, the person that my mother taught me to be from the start. In these 8 weeks of training, I have broken through the shell that my past years of pain has caused me to create. I have learned to love myself again, and this time, it's going to stay this way. Now I would like to present my good friend, Stephen Yang.
Now, before I start, let's give a round of applause to all the breakthrough speakers. Good afternoon, family and friends. My name is Stephen Yang. I attend Harding Senior High, and I am contracted at 3M through Genesis Works. At Genesis Works, we abide by a value system we like to call Achiever. For those of you who don't know what Achiever stands for, A is for attitude, C is for communication, H is for honesty, I is for initiative, E is for excellence, V is for vision, and E, as Genesis Works young professionals like to express it, enthusiasm, and R for respect. The Achiever skills have been one of the building blocks to our personalized success as young professionals of Genesis Works. But we are not the only ones capable of inheriting or portraying these skills. So we, the young professionals of Genesis Works, want to recognize other important achievers in our community with our first annual Achiever Awards. When Genesis Works started in the summer of 2008, only 11 students from 3 St. Paul high schools were placed into jobs. This past summer, we had 155 students successfully We had 155 students successfully complete training and be placed into corporate internships. The support of teachers, guidance counselors, principals, and the superintendent herself have been instrumental to the growth of Genesis Works. Success in St. Paul allowed us to move into the Minneapolis public schools and more than a dozen other districts. During the summer, Superintendent Silva visited and empowered us through her outstanding abilities and through her personal struggles. I remember her telling us about what it was like to migrate from her homeland to the United States. The hardships she faced seemed deeper than the scars I face today. So deep that it reminded me of my parents. Her contribution to the background of this country's education system is greatly appreciated as we reach for a better future. For all she has done to make our community a better place, it is of my great pleasure to present the School Partner Achiever Award to Superintendent Valeria Silva in the St. Paul Public Schools.
A few weeks ago, I got an email from Jeff, and it was late at night when I read it, and I couldn't believe that he was asking me, I'm sorry, but I'm usually pretty good about speaking, but this has been asking me to come because you guys determined that I needed to get this award. I have gotten many awards in my life, Stephen, and all of you. But I tell you, this is the award that I feel the most proud. And I tell you why. Because when I go and see you at the beginning, usually it's at the beginning of your program, and I see you today doing these speeches, talking about your life and what you have achieved, it makes my job much easier. Because I know the reason why I have this job, in some way or another, God gave me the opportunity to help all of you to change your destiny. And it's not to change it, it's to make your own destiny. Thank you. Thank you for giving me today a gift of there's a reason why we all had struggles in life, because it makes us stronger. So I stand here, being the first college graduate, as you know, the only female superintendent in an urban setting in the country. And I want many of you to accomplish this and much more. With that, I'm closing it with, I'm leaving my heart here today. You guys are amazing, and the world needs to know. And we have to do a revolution. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Silva. And now I would like to present my great friend, Frank Ripa.
Thank you, Stephen, Superintendent Silva. My name is Frank, as Stephen just pointed out, and I am an intern at Medtronic. And it is my pleasure to present Medtronic with the GenesisWorks Achiever Award for Outstanding Corporate Partner. You know, I still remember my first day at Medtronic. I arrived early, around 7 a.m. in the morning, before even my supervisor had arrived. I remember sitting in the lobby, seeing hundreds of people all walking around dressed professionally like we did every day at GenesisWorks. And as I was sitting there in the lobby, the grandeur of Medtronic dawned on me. Medtronic is not only grand in its size, as those of you who have been to any of the campuses would agree, but also in its involvement with GenesisWorks. Medtronic has become our single largest client with an outstanding 20 interns this year throughout their 3 campuses. Aside from just increasing the number of interns it has taken on, it has also broadened the spectrum of responsibilities it has given to these interns. Medtronic is not only active in the intern level of GenesisWorks, but also on the executive level. Its CIO, Mike Hedges, is on the GenesisWorks board and has helped with our expansion through his expertise and contributions. Medtronic has played key roles in all levels of GenesisWorks, and it is my pleasure and the pleasure of all of GenesisWorks to present Medtronic with the GenesisWorks Award for Outstanding Corporate Partner.
Getting told to go that way. I had a speech written which was about 12 pages, which I know you're glad I'm not going to speak to. After listening to you, this is actually my speech. This morning at 8 a.m., you're right, we don't start at 7. This morning at 8 a.m., I met an amazing young lady. Her name was Alison Leneve. When she was 8 years old, she was diagnosed with significant heart disease and other problems, health problems. She was told by her doctor that she was not allowed to walk up the stairs and she couldn't do things that normal children could do. In 2002, she was the first American lady to climb Mount Everest. In fact, she went on to climb the 7 highest peaks in the world. She skied across from the North to the South Pole, pulling a weight of 150 pounds. She was an amazing lady who talked about how you could achieve and reach the sky if you wanted to, how there was nothing could stop you, how you should look at what you have, not what you don't have. This afternoon, in the last 30, 40 minutes, I heard 4 amazing people speak. That's my speech. Aliyah, Hannah, Najee, Natasha. I hope I said those names correctly. You are truly amazing people. You are Alison Leneve. You are the future. The things that you've overcome, the things that you are going to do, your future is bright. In fact, you're all Alison Leneve. You're an amazing set of students. When I meet the ones that come to Medtronic, I'm amazed. I think you do a great job. The passion, the way you speak up here, you're like professionals. I'm amazed. My own team can't speak as good as you. The last thing I would say, there is no way at my age I can motivate you, but you can certainly motivate me. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate what you do for Medtronic, and we will continue to support and do everything we can to help the Genesis Works. Thank you.
Up next is my colleague, Abdi Hafid Maxamed, with our Final Achiever Award.
Good evening. We have sat here and we have listened to many different stories. We have given out awards to many different individuals and companies. Today I'm here to tell you guys we wouldn't be here today without many people. One of those people is Mr. Nick Hernandez. He is the CEO of Arete Consulting. Mr. Hernandez made countless introductions to senior leaders at potential clients, resulting in more than 40 jobs over the past 2 years. He helped organize a special training day on ServiceNow. He had employees help with practice interviews. He also had them help with the suit-up drive to give me and my colleagues a fresh new look the first day of work. Mr. Hernandez's support of the students and the mission of Genesis Works goes well beyond his contribution. As a member of our Twin Cities Board of Directors, he has gone above and beyond the call of duty. For this, we want to recognize Mr. Hernandez with the first ever Genesis Works Individual Award. Please welcome Mr. Hernandez.
I don't know what hasn't already been said about some of the most fabulous, inspiring, talented students that I've seen. The poise, the confidence, the gifted touch of introducing people and elevating them to come up on this stage. I mean, you guys are truly Toastmasters, truly. And it's easy to open doors when it's representing a product and a body of pure energy and enthusiasm backed by hard work, as the Genesis Works students are. And let me tell you one other thing that differentiates Genesis Works from a lot of other focused, talented internship programs is what captured me and my imagination and my heart and love for what this program is about is really your executive director, Jeff Tollefson, who works tirelessly for you guys. So, where's Jeff? The definition of creating any value, be it a concept, a definition, a product, is first and foremost, there has to be a transfer of enthusiasm that takes place. And that enthusiasm comes from desire, and it comes from your walk, your talk, and what you guys deliver every day. So let me just end by saying it's very easy to represent a student body that, from what I've seen sitting in your sessions and observing you in your professional walk and talk, you guys rock and you guys deliver. Congratulations.
Oops. Please welcome my colleagues, Esther and Kaylin Kazong.
Hello everyone, my name is Kaylin Zhang and I am an intern at Accenture Best Buy.
And I'm Esther Mwangi and I intern at Donaldson Company.
Genesis provided us a life-changing 8-week summer program. One filled with lots of learning, but also lots of fun. I remembered how shy and quiet we were all on the first day of training. But as the weeks passed, we all grew to overcome our fears. Through this experience, we gained confidence in ourselves and our future. I am proud of all that my fellow interns and I have been able to accomplish, as we have truly broken through.
Words simply cannot express Genesis Works and the impact it has on us. We've grown together as young professionals, and words simply cannot express. If I describe it in one word, it will be transformational. We've grown together as young professionals who are responsible and have a vision for the future. We've put together a slideshow that gives a glimpse of the change that started during the summer and is continuing to unfold. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Next, we are proud to introduce the Genesis Works CEO and founder, Rafael Alvarez.
Executive Director, Jeff Chalfson. Program Director, Beth Moncrief. Program Coordinator, Chris Nadi. Class 1 alumni, Pa-Young Zhang. Class 2 alumni, Julie Wolf, for the presentation of certificates.
Hello everybody, my name is Beth Moncrief and this is Chris Snoddy, and today we have the honor of announcing the Class 5 GenesisWorks Young Professionals.
As the students walk across the stage today, they will be receiving two things. The first thing will be a certificate of completion of the GenesisWorks Summer Program training. Each Class 5 student spent 8 weeks of their summer working hard to learn the IT and professional skills necessary to succeed in their internships. Young professionals, we are so proud of you.
The second thing that these students will receive is a pack of business cards. Students, you are no longer just high schoolers. You are true card-carrying young professionals working at some of the most successful corporations in the Twin Cities. Congratulations to each and every one of you on the start of your professional career. Keep these cards handy.
All right, so we will be announcing students alphabetically.